Well, welcome back, everybody. So, for this segment of The Healer and the Inspector, I just wanted to start actually bringing my healing knowledge into the podcast here. So, I decided
Yes, it's
to,
about time.
I know, right? uh, I put together a little information on the dandelion, and I thought that would be a great um, starter herb because it is on our logo.
Now
And
that's surprising because you've referred to it as an herb, and
yes,
we kind of talked about this offline. I've always considered it a weed.
like most people, and I think it's due to, Roundup down Montesano. But anyways, that's a whole nother segment. Um, that's actually, so when I was trying to think how to make this interesting for people to listen, I didn't want to just be like, and this herb does this. So I actually looked into the history. And it basically goes back to Chinese and Native Americans that actually use dandelion as medicine.
Really?
It's actually
Huh.
an extremely powerful medicinal herb, and there's different ways that you can use it. So you can use it, like in a tincture, you can make it a tea, and you can actually eat it as like a food.
Huh.
However, it's extremely bitter. It's
Okay.
extremely bitter. So I was reading different ways on how you can kind of take the bitter down, and they do say to kind of like blanch it a little bit if you're going to eat it. It's a little tough too, and I don't know if it was just the type of dandelion that I had picked. I I did make a video for anyone listening out there. It's a little goofy, it's a little weird, but I just wanted to have some fun. And it's on YouTube under our Healer and the Inspector channel. So please check it
Yes.
out. Leave any comments. Would love your feedback as long as it's, pretty if as long as it's what is it criticism sandwich, or what's it called? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Is what I'm saying. We don't want mad green trolls
No Catherines.
and no Catherines. I've never, and I filmed everything with my phone, okay? So just to let you guys know, like I've never really done anything like this before. And so the making of the video was very interesting, and then I'll get into the properties of the dandelion.
And the
But
video reflects you going off into the hills to find dandelions,
to
right?
find dandelions, which I didn't find any dandelions. Those flowers that are in there are not dandelions, but they were the only yellow flowers I could find. I was like, well, they'll do. This is, it's Hollywood.
Right.
So
Wow.
I don't know. And I mean, I had an idea, but I really didn't know what I was doing. And the whole time I look absolutely insane because my hair is really big. I have this big makeup on, very, like very colorful makeup and fake eyelashes. And meanwhile, there's people hiking behind me, and I'm spinning around in circles under a tree. And I felt absolutely ridiculous, but it was kind of fun. I just kept laughing. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. But I had a lot of fun, and that's the whole point, right? And hopefully it's
Yes.
entertainment for people. Um, yeah, so that was kind of interesting and fun, and I'm gonna continue to make more videos, and hopefully they'll continue to grow and expand and get better with time and quality. um, but back to the dandelion. So they can be edible, and I cooked them up in the video as well. But I had gotten these from Whole Foods, and so it was pretty tough, and they were quite bitter. And I actually ate it. I had made some potato salad, and that's what I put on top of the dandelions to kind of like help cut the
Oh,
flavor. And that
okay.
seemed to go pretty well together. But I was reading online, there's so many recipes out there, and there's even Dandelion Wine, which I thought was really neat. I don't, really drink anymore, but I was like, oh wow, that sounds really fun and interesting. But anyways, so the dandelion. So the medicinal properties is basically about reducing cholesterol, and it regulates blood sugar. It also lowers blood pressure. It reduces inflammation, and it boosts immune system.
It reduces cholesterol?
Yes, it
Wow.
does. And the
Hmm.
reason for that is Uh, so this, so because it's bitter. And so, like, according to Ayurvedic medicine, which is the most oldest medical industry in humanity, which is from India, they
Hmm.
have this constitution where there's the six tastes, and each taste has properties that function for the body. And so
Okay.
bitter, when you eat something bitter, that will help stimulate your appetite. So it gets your digestive juices flowing. So it helps produce bile, it helps get your stomach juices going, and it helps you cleanse your body because it's also cleansing the bloodstream. So it's pulling out toxins, and it also
You know what?
clears congestion.
I can attest to that because a few weeks back, I don't know if you remember, I took a photo of some Keurig tea pods that I had ordered,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and I told you I'd misread it, and I thought it said like colonic tea, and it was an herbal tea because I'm trying to. Well, I have, and I was using this to kind of cut back my craving of coffee, especially at work.
Mm,
Um, 'Cause, when I've drunk coffee, I pour in a lot of the powdered cream and some sugar, and I wanted to cut that back. But
mm,
this tea is a little bitter, and it made me hungry. And I was reading the box because I really didn't pay attention, I guess, when I ordered it. But the box said it was something to boost your metabolism.
mm,
And I mean, sure enough, and I can't drink that. I went through like the 10 pods, but I didn't order anymore because especially if I got home and I had some tea, like, at 8 or 9 o'clock, then it made me hungry.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I was like,
Wow.
no, no, that's the last thing I want. So instead I found some orange spiced tea, which has orange and like cinnamon, and it has a little spiciness to it.
That sounds
And
good.
oddly enough, yeah, it is. It smells great, and oddly enough, it kind of comes across sweet, so I don't have to add sugar or anything. And
Right.
when I have that, that cuts my craving for coffee at work. I usually have that at work after my lunch,
Mm,
and yeah, it kind of helps to curb my appetite a little bit and to get rid of that sweet tooth. So, yeah, so
right.
definitely in my experience, that bitter tea made me hungry.
Right. So bitter will, so it's activating all that, but it also tones your muscles. Like a bitter is to help, it tones your muscles and your skin.
What?
Yes. And that's
Hmm.
where it said, for dandelion, it's really good for acne and people with eczema. And
Hmm.
also with anyone that has stomach and like kidney function disorders or anything like that, dandelion helps balance that out. And it's because of that effect. And then it
Hmm.
also says it scrapes fat and toxins. So it's like going to pull all that out of your blood system. So, and then it's a diuretic, so you eliminate it.
So why haven't we heard? I mean, it sounds like it has all of these great properties. Why haven't we heard so much or really anything?
I can't, this is not fact at all, but you have Monsanto, you have all the big pharma, and they are trying to overtake any natural medicine because they make more money from from them putting it in a white pill. Like you can, they have a business model that they're sticking to, and they will try And they're kind of even in. I can't, like, I don't want anyone to take any information and take it the wrong way. Like everyone has their own understanding of things. But just from what I've learned and from also taking that herbal class, you have these government structures and these huge business backed industries that they don't make money from something that's natural. Like if you can go pick it from your backyard, how is the pharmacy and the big pharma, how are they going to make any
Mm.
money from you growing it in your yard? So they're trying to make a synthetic version or do something else so that you have to eventually rely. I mean, that's why people take so many pills. Well, you take this one
Yeah.
pill for this thing, and then that produces, I mean, that's like the commercials. It causes all these other things. And so we'll just take another pill for that. And then you're spending hundreds of dollars, you know. But when you can grow your own medicine, who's going to make money off of that? No one, really.
Right.
So that's kind of what I think that is about. And that's why there's so much medicine out there that is accessible to us and we don't know it. And that's why, like the food pyramid, like remember that old food pyramid? That
Yes.
was horrible. Like, no, that doesn't make any sense. They're finding now
Well,
that that was like the not
mm,
good way to eat at all.
well, there's always stuff that we're learning about. I mean, like years ago, I remember seeing a video for DDT, which is a super toxic, long-lasting poison that we use right out of World War II because it killed mosquitoes and
I
just about
remember
anything
that.
else it killed. And so out of World War II, we were using it everywhere because, as far as we could tell, it killed everything. In fact, going into the pest industry as an inspector for termites, I found out that we almost eradicated bed bugs, and partly because of using DDT. But
Oh, wow.
over time, yeah, over time, it was found out that, um, DDT, of course, is harmful to humans in all sorts of ways.
Hmm.
And the environment, animals, where not only you were killing insects, but birds and then their offspring and so on. So we banned it, and that's why over time, once DDT was banned, bed bugs started to come back, and now they're like everywhere. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, but I did see a video years ago, I think it was on YouTube, where they showed old footage of just how little we knew or were told about DDT, where these trucks would drive around neighborhoods spraying like this big fog of DDT. And
Wow.
what stood out is this bench that was like bleachers almost on the curb, right on the curb, and it was full of little kids, and they're cheering this truck that's coming right by them, and the truck drives by them slowly and just sprays them with this huge fog of DDT.
And they wonder why we have cancer and stupid people.
Right.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah, and so look,
horrible.
yes, it is. And so looking back on it, it's either maybe the government knew and had an inkling but didn't share it, but for whatever reason, consumers, the everyday public, and probably GIs who experienced DDT thought it was this miracle pesticide, because it was used everywhere for crop dusting, at homes for pesticides. And, we come to find out, hey, it was causing birth defects and other diseases
Wow.
and killing doing harm. So you're right about not being told about things either on purpose or just lack of knowledge.
Right. I think it's the combination of both.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's kind of why I've always been, let's just stick to the more natural. I mean, sometimes you do, I mean, not that I mean, I take ibuprofen and,
Yeah.
like I get migraines from time to time and I
Mm.
do have a special migraine medication. I don't like taking it because it helps me with the migraine,
Yeah.
but it also makes me feel really sick too. So it's like I
Mm.
either I mean I still feel sick regardless, but sometimes I just need to take it. And I don't take it very often. I mean, it's when it has to be that extreme for me to take something. But then see,
Yeah.
that's just the symptom. The migraine is a symptom of something. There's a root cause, and that medication isn't helping the root cause. And that's
Right.
kind of like where if you really do have something going on in your body is, there's signs. It's telling you like, hey, I don't like this, but you're doing something that I don't, like it, that's what things happen to our body because of that, and sometimes we don't even know our own bodies. I have to say that before I was a massage therapist, I really didn't understand my body whatsoever. But now that I am in that line of work, and because I've studied more about my health, and I also think the more you get older, you kind of, you're like, okay, well, if I eat that, then this happens. Or like, like you learn what your body likes and doesn't like. But then we always are constantly changing too because of our hormones. And the older we get, we become more sensitive to foods and stuff. And so I don't know. It's just a combination of everything. But for me, at least, I do find that the more natural that I can eat and have medicine, the happier my body is. Because as soon as, I mean, ibuprofen, I don't really have any bad side effects from, but I've noticed from
Okay.
any type of medication I take, I always have a side effect. Like I feel a chemical in my body.
Hmm.
I can feel it and it will last like a couple days. Like it takes my body a couple days to kind of come back from something sometimes. And I don't know if that's
Hmm.
just because I've started eating more clean. I'm not the best. Like I totally will throw down on that cheesecake. I will. But I'm not eating that all the time. Like I can't even remember the last time I had cheesecake.
Yeah,
But
you and I both. We would have joined that looter
oh, I
in
totally would have been like, all
Portland
right,
to
well,
get into that
let me see.
cheesecake.
But I would have done just one cheese. If you're gonna steal, you may as well make it worth it. Maybe three or four.
Right.
Uh, okay. So, we totally didn't make it. So we're trying to keep these episodes short, but it's just so hard because we like to talk. But anyways, so back to the dandelion. Um,
Yes.
so this is rich in vitamin C, E, and A, also calcium, potassium, zinc, and iron. So it's a
What?
really, I know it's a superfood, really.
Okay.
And
We are going to open up an Etsy store like today and find dandelions and sell them online.
all right, I'm down. I'm totally down. I think it would
Well,
be
let me
worth
ask you
it.
this. I think so too, especially if people learn more. Well, I think number one, learn more about it, which I didn't know. This is new to me. Um, and number two, um, being able to get it, right?
Right,
Because markets don't
right.
sell dandelions, and preferably not in pill form, I guess, or that might defeat the purpose. But
Well,
don't dandelion?
capsules is okay. Like it's just when it's in
Oh,
the white paste because then it's
okay.
so far from its original constitution
Mm,
that so like the way I have been taught through my herbal class is like when you have a pill and that's not a capsule, like when it's a ground herb in a capsule, that's different because you're extracting the hydration of it and you do lose
mhm,
some of the nutrients, but
mm.
it's still the whole flower or herb or like whatever. It's still the whole essence and constitution of that plant. Whereas
Okay.
like a pill is an extracted element
Hmm.
from the plant or a synthetic version of it that's been made in a lab. And
No.
your body is a
Hmm.
organism. And so when you're taking either or. Your body, so sometimes like if you okay, so turmeric's been all the rage, but because of its anti-inflammatory properties, which is also a bitter.
What was all the rage?
Turmeric root, turmeric root. It's
Oh, that's
actually
like
like the
a
main component in curry.
really?
Yes.
Huh.
It's yellow.
Huh. Okay.
So
But it's a root.
it's a root. And the
Okay.
only way there's a and I can't remember the name of this, but you have to take it with black pepper because uh, there's a chemical in black pepper or a component in black pepper that helps your body absorb the anti-inflammatory properties of turmeric. So you have to kind of eat
Huh.
both together in order for the healing properties to be activated. So going back to
Okay.
like when you take a pill form and you've taken one element from the whole plant, sometimes you're just putting stuff in your body and your body's not even absorbing. So you're like spending so much money on all this stuff and your body is not even really getting the best absorption from it because it needs all the other stuff. And that's when you eat a
Hmm.
plant in its whole form, there's so many other elements that go with it that's meant for your body, like so your body can break it down and actually absorb it. Like when you take iron, you're supposed to take it with folic acid and magnesium for your body to actually even absorb the iron. Like you need all of that
Okay.
together for it to actually be effective, for the iron to be effective. So if you just take one, the other isn't going to work. So you need the whole form.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I
So
know you were trying to
fascinating.
say something. What were you wanted to say something too, or ask a question?
Well, I'm thinking, aren't also dandelions though? I think part of why I stay away from them when I see them and consider them a weed is because I think the green leaves, which can be kind of broad, have seem like they have almost like thorns or spines on them.
That is not a dandelion. If it has that,
Ah, okay.
that is a
Ah,
different plant.
okay.
That is a lookalike. So do not eat the ones that have spikes. There are so many videos out there, like on YouTube, that I actually had just watched. I wonder if I can pull it up really quick. It actually went in and explained the different leaves, and they were like, because there was a guy, and I'm so sorry, I can't think of the name of the guy. I watched so many of these, and I can't remember which one, but he was teaching a class, and someone had brought up, "Oh, was this a dandelion?" And it had the spiky, furry stuff, and they're like, "Oh no, don't eat that." I don't think that it was poisonous, but I don't know off the top of my head, but that was not a dandelion. So if it's plain, then you're okay. Oh, it's probably gonna take me forever to find that video. I did want to also say, because I thought this was very interesting too, that I found um, was that dandelion is also antibacterial, antiviral, and also it is deworming. So it helps get rid of parasites. And I thought, especially right now, since, viruses taking over the world right now, this is an amazing plant to actually have in your kitchen right now for your health. So I
Wow.
wanted to share that with everybody. But that's pretty
Yeah,
much all
just
I have to say. Oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot. I thought this was a cute little fun fact, and then I'll let you finish. But I was reading that the dandelion is actually was dandelion, so it means tooth of lion. And
oh.
for I kind of look in. I also like to look into like the magical side or more of like symbolism. And
Mm-hmm.
so this plant is meant to help. It's for about inspiration and creativity. And then of always, like when you blow the little seeds around, it's like to help with wishes. So I thought that was kind of cute and I wanted to share that.
Yeah. Um, that would make sense because I just looked it up. Well, when I answered the question about the thorniness or the spines on the leaves, it did come up that you're right. There's something out there that's considered a false dandelion that looks just like it or very similar, but except um, it may have like furry leaves, whereas, like you said, the dandelion doesn't. So it's good to know. You have to really know what you're looking for to find the dandelion. No wonder you couldn't find one.
Right. No, well, here's the thing. In my mind, I would love to be like that that person that knows every single plant on the hike. I've always wanted to be that person, but I don't know. I just haven't done that. But even for myself, I don't get to see it actually in the ground very often. And I mean, a
Hmm.
dandelion, you can tell, like when it has the flower, of course, you know when it's the dandelion. But um, it's a little, I don't know if I'm out, and then you never know what they spray with too. So it could be some DDT coming for a comeback, you know. You know, I don't trust, and you know, I live in an apartment studio, and there's no grass anywhere near me. And I don't think, and then the grass that we do have has been so oversaturated with dog stuff. And probably
Yeah.
human. Nowadays it can be human. But unfortunately because of, you know, there's so many homeless people too. That's my sister used to live in
Yeah.
San Francisco in Oakland, and she said when she would walk, she'd have to do the poop step. They called it the poop step. And
Mm.
9 out of 10 times it was human. So you would just, and she said she would just watch people just take a poo right in the middle of the street. I'm like, that is awful. And you know, like
Yeah.
it's a shame. It's so sad, but like also we've come to that. That's where we live. Crazy. So be careful of those dandelion picking out there, people. Maybe do it from like grow it in your window first.
Yeah, or stay tuned for a Etsy store coming to you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, I definitely think that we would have to grow it ourselves.
I would think so. Most
Yeah.
definitely. I actually I so Wild Love Apothecary, which is in Topanga Canyon, which is I don't think the storefront is open. Actually, let me see. So that is actually the store of my teacher, who is amazing, and she actually has a farm that she harvests all her herbs from. And then
Oh.
Mountain Rose Herbs, which I think is up north somewhere. They're
Hmm.
really good. You are going to pay a little bit more because these are like the most organic and fresh. You know, like you're paying for quality with these places. Um, but sometimes I just have to order stuff through like Amazon. There's the Frontier Herbs and Starwood Botanicals is where I get my herbs from
Oh
sometimes.
my, that's quite a website she has. It's really nice. I
Yeah.
just opened it up. Wild Love
It's
Apothecary. Wow,
so
very cool.
beautiful and cute. And she is amazing. She is such an amazing person and teacher. And
Hmm.
I kind of miss being in class. Like I should take another course again because it's been a while since I've taken some herb stuff, you know.
Well,
Um,
let me ask you because I meant to and I forgot. And I'm looking at the website, which is
mhm,
very eclectic. I like it.
mhm,
In the video that we posted to YouTube, and you can find it on YouTube, everyone, at The Healer and the Inspector on YouTube. That's our channel.
mhm.
But I noticed there is um, a few seconds where you have some cards facing up.
Oh, my tarot
What is
cards.
that? Tarot cards. Okay.
Okay, so I just thought I'd include them because I don't know, you know, I like my tarot cards, and I had like I think about a month ago I wasn't feeling so good and that combination came up, and it just really resonated with me and where I was at in my life. And so I've actually kind of kept them out in that order, the heal, transformation, and light. So I don't know. I took them with me and I just kind of wanted to bring that in. And so when I am so like with the way the teachings of my class, my herbal class, it's about using ancient traditions. So you have a lot of like Native American ritual. There's a lot of ritual involved. So you just don't
Okay.
go out and you don't use a machete and hack down all the plants. There's a proper way to kind of forage.
Okay.
And when you're talking about Native Americans, like they're very, or whatever, like any older culture, like the older ways where it was a little bit more of a spiritual element to it, where you actually sit in meditation or prayer, whatever you want to call it. You would sit and you actually would ask the permission of the plant if you could harvest it. And if you're,
Mm,
pretty well along in your meditation practice, it's about sitting there, you quiet your mind, and is there any messages that you receive? And then you go from there. And sometimes you're supposed to give like an offering, whether it be like water or tobacco, or you're supposed to give a gift. Because if
mm,
you're taking, there's a relationship you're having with this plant, with the
mm.
earth. And so you don't just take, you also give. And then that brings kind of a love element into it. And so you're bringing more love into your life. And
Okay.
so the medicine that you're putting into your body is with love, instead of just kind of like, oh, let me just, shove some pills down my throat. You know, there's when you're in a place of receiving and open to love, you're going to heal more. Cause just think about it. Like when you're in love with someone, or if you're very passionate about something that you're doing, you're happy and you feel good, And so when you're taking in your medicine or your healing in that kind of form, it will only help strengthen that medicine.
Okay.
That's the basis of it. So, I thought I would bring that into the video too, just to kind of, I don't know, like I just thought it would be neat to put it in there. It's a little element of myself. I'm not like a tarot reader or anything like that, but I do my little spreads every once in a while just to see what's going on. And it's for fun, and it's interesting because sometimes it is pretty dead on. I don't know how that happens, but like I'm the type of person, I'm very open to what's going on. Like, hey, if there's aliens out there, yay, cool. We'd love to meet one as long as they're like chill, you know? Don't want no
Right.
angry ones. But hey, I'm open to the idea, you know? That's just the kind of person I am, you know? So I just thought it was fun. And I have some more ideas. I have some more video ideas that I'm going to play around with. And hopefully, my sister is a photographer, and I have brothers that are, in production element of it, of filming and stuff like that. So I have friends too that I'm waiting for feedback to see what they say and what I can, better and stuff like that. But I do have a
Ah,
few more video ideas, and I'm hoping to kind of bring that element out a little bit more as
okay.
well, just for fun, to make it entertaining, because that's the whole purpose, is to have fun and also not have knowledge at the same time. So that's kind of at least my
Yeah,
approach.
sounds good. Well, I look forward to learning more and seeing more of those videos. And my last question, which,
Hmm.
in regards to the video, because I know you mentioned you were knowledgeable about Santeria, and in the video towards the end, I think where you're cooking or preparing something, I saw a black voodoo doll. Tell us more
Yes.
about that.
So I actually got that beautiful little doll. I love that little doll too. Um, I was in New Orleans. So this was kind of weird too. So I went to New Orleans and then like 3 days after coming back from New Orleans, we were shut down on the pandemic. So I'm like, maybe I'm just not meant to travel because when I come back, I get shut down or curfewed or something. But
Right.
anyways, um, so I went to it was the Voodoo Museum of Marie Laveau's house. And
Oh.
so that little baby doll is a protection doll. And you're supposed to sew buttons from your grandmother, but I don't have any buttons from my grandma. And you're supposed to draw a face on it. And I'm like, I kind of like it the way it is though. And so I don't know. I just kind of like keep it in there, in the kitchen there.
So it's
So
supposed to
cute.
protect, it's a protective doll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Interesting.
And I thought it was sweet and it made sense. Like if you put buttons of your grandmother on there, that gives it that sweet nurturing and grandma, you feel there's like, I don't know, well, the way you're made to think of grandmas. My grandma was really sweet and awesome. I loved my grandma. Um, so for most people, when you think of grandma, there's like that comforting feeling. So
Hmm.
I think that's kind of where that comes from and like as a protection, like protects the home,
Okay.
protects you. It makes you feel
Got
safe.
it.
And I think if you're like a 5-year-old and you were given that doll, and if you think about it, so Santeria, it's and I think it's called African peat moss is what I think is the actual material that it's made from. And so I'm thinking, okay, if in Africa, I don't know, please, I don't know facts, but I'm just uh assuming, you know, a lot of people that didn't have a whole lot of, you don't have much going on. So what do you do? Mom or grandma is probably trying to make the baby feel safe or give them
Hmm.
something. So what do you have? Oh, you have some sticks. You make it look like a person a little bit, put some, you
Right.
have a little bit of cloth, put some clothes on it, and there's a doll for you. And so you've been given something from someone that like makes you feel good. So that's I kind of think what that's how I would think
Okay.
maybe the history of it would be. I don't know for sure. But even like, like people that look like, I can just see that, just like the kids that played with a tire and a stick, you know?
Right.
I don't know. I don't, that's just how my brain's thinking.
Cool. Well, that's all the questions I have, and learned
Okay.
about a lot more about the dandelion. So thank you.
You're welcome. And hopefully I'll have more. I'm gonna start trying to implement more herbs. And hopefully I'm trying to get it to where it's a little more fun too, instead of like a dry, boring herbal segment. So we'll see what happens though. If anyone has suggestions or anything that um, they would like to hear about, please let me know, and I'll make sure to make that happen.
Great. Okay.
All right, everyone. We totally did not stick to the 30-minute rule whatsoever. So we are going to end it here. So thank you very much for listening to the healer and the inspector.
Yes. Thank you,
And
everyone.
yes, if you have any comments, please like, subscribe, all that shebang. And we look forward to bringing another episode to you, which it's going to be about what's it called? Rubber. We're going to do some movie commentary. This will be interesting, folks. So tune in to next time.
Yes, and we look forward to your chili recipes.
Yes. Amen.